Another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers, and join me here today to talk about the BYU Cougars taking on the Oklahoma State Cowboys in a great matchup in the Big 12. Help me out today is going to be Jay McLovin from the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. Jay, how you doing, my friend? And let's get your analysis on this game.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me, Logan. Yeah, this is a 9:15 evening game on ESPN. For those that want to stay up that late and watch football, go ahead, because the Mormons of BYU will be taking on the Okie Stokies of Oklahoma State. So, interestingly enough, BYU 6-0, Oklahoma State's 3-3. BYU is ranked at number 13 right now in the nation.
Right.
They are a 63% favorite to win this game. When you look at their top leaders, right, you got Bowman, who's 127 for 214, a little over 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. And then you look at, for BYU, you look at Ratliff at 108 out of 179 for 1,400 and some change on the yardage, 14 touchdowns, but 5 interceptions. It's almost kind of like those kind of guys almost kind of wipe each other out with their stats, right? I mean, they're both kind of turn over the ball a lot, even though they are scoring touchdowns. Then when you kind of go to the running game, that's where it kind of changes up a little bit. I think Gordon is a little bit better runner for Oklahoma State. He's had 101 carries at 384 and 4 touchdowns to BYU's running back, Ratliff, at 40 carries at 184 and a touchdown. So clearly you can see that they throw the ball a lot more than they actually run the ball over there at BYU. And when you look at the wide receivers, you got Stribling for Oklahoma State at 29 receptions at 556 and 4, to Roberts 26 to 397 and 3 touchdowns. So when you look at it just on paper, you look at the leaders and things of that nature, clearly it looks like Oklahoma State should get that win. But the stats aren't always the telltale of everything, right? The game is in Utah, so Provo, Utah. So it is going to be on their home turf. Which is interesting. OSU was on a 3-game losing streak, which is never a good thing. Hopefully this bye week that they just came off of going into this is going to be something they can use to turn that program around. BYU has played 0 ranked teams. I don't think there's been one ranked team that BYU has played yet. So even though I know they're 13 and 6-0, it's really not against ranked competition. So I kind of put that, I take that record and that ranking with a grain of salt. I think if Oklahoma State beats BYU could very well fall out of the rankings. And I think Oklahoma State could possibly take a step in the right direction of getting into it. Again, Oklahoma State is 0-3 versus the Big 12. So they do have that working against them. The prediction for me in this game, I think it's going to be close. I think it'll be probably, 35-21. Oklahoma State also has got to play tough like they did at the double overtime win versus Arkansas. So this team can play tough, and they can play the good teams, when they gear up for it. And that's what they're going to have to do against BYU. They're going to have to gear up for it. One player to watch, Logan, is last year's Doak Walker Award winner, Ollie Gordon, who has struggled to match his production of last season. He's averaging less than 4 yards. This is the guy that got the Doak Walker Award, who's now averaging less than 4 yards a carry, which is never a good thing. Matter of fact, Oklahoma State has 116th in the rush, and BYU is 69th in the league against the rush. So that should be interesting to see how those two come up against each other. Again, BYU is in the mix for the Big 12 title. They're undefeated straight up. They're undefeated straight up and against the spread this year, which is interesting. So BYU is a +7, or excuse me, BYU is a +7 turnover margin. And also their defense has not given up too much on the run. I think they've given up 6 passes, but nothing on the run in terms of touchdowns. So that should be interesting. Again, the run. If I had to say, if I'm Oklahoma State and I'm going up against a BYU team, I'm going to say run the hell out of the ball. Run it all damn day and pray to God you can stop their run.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, Jay. When you look at these two teams here, BYU is undefeated. The Cougars are undefeated. And They're 3-0 in their conference, 6 overall, 13th in the land. But I'm more so curious, Jay, about Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting bigger things from them this year. I was expecting bigger things from Ollie Gordon. What has happened, Jay? Only 384 yards on over 100 carries. That's only a 3.8 average.
I think we did a preview on them, didn't we?
I believe we did, but it's I don't know, man. I think BYU is kind of a slept-on program. Yeah, I mean, you don't think of them as a powerhouse, obviously. If you think of big collegiate football schools, BYU is not going to be on your list. Okay, you can ask a lot of people. BYU is not going to make it on that list. So with BYU, I think that they have a really solid lineup. Obviously, with their quarterback and Retzlaff. I will say though, Jay, they got to get some type of running game going. Look, I know I just said that thing about Ollie Gordon, but BYU is definitely a one-trick pony. So they got to get a running game established, and if the defense, can keep doing what they've been up to, and that has just been solid play overall. 11 sacks on the year, and Jay, they are just absolutely swarming in the secondary. 10 picks? You kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're OSU, let's hope this Ollie Gordon can have a great game, because it might be some rough no-fly zone this upcoming weekend, Jay, if you're out there. Overall, though, I'll think the Cougars win this one. BYU, Oklahoma State, they just have not had it this year, buddy, and that's just how it is. But I think BYU will take the win in this one, and I feel pretty confident in saying that. I think that they have a great program, and they will continue their undefeated streak this upcoming week. Well, hey, Jay, I appreciate you, my friend, coming on the show talking about BYU and Oklahoma State. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, until next time, we'll talk to you again on another live episode. We'll see you then.